This is for Nulu Mykushla from the BBC. Just come to hand us the news that Quinlan plans to make a new episode celebrating St. Patrick's Day on Melbourne Musos Friday Facebook Live at tonight at 6 p.m. We cross now to Mr. Quinlan discussing the St. Patrick's Day episode with his fellow Irishman Marcus Sastimoinen.
Reminds you of that movie, The Leprechaun? You remember with that little guy who goes, I'm the leprechaun. Garth, I'm the leprechaun.
Cool it, okay?
I'm the leprechaun.
Stop it, all right?
Don't try and steal me, Patico.
Our apologies. We will cross back to Chris and Marcus as soon as we can replace the rubber band with a piece of string. We cross back now to Chris and Marcus.
Chill. What are those monsters to you, sweetie?
I'm not,
Sweetie.
Stop it.
Sweetie.
Be on the lookout for the leprechaun. He has many faces and drum sets. If you see the leprechaun, make sure you pour a Guinness or 3 and dance around in your green Irish jockstrap. Again, let's cross back to Chris and Marcus preparing to go fully sick on Dora's the D-Dub at Guinness O'Clock tonight.
The leprechaun. Where are you gonna move?
Get away, leprechaun.
Are you gonna move
man.
to Ireland? Because I'm the leprechaun.
I'm the leprechaun! Hey! Hey! Don't try and kill me, Pascal! Hey, I'm the leprechaun! Welcome to the St. Patrick's Day special of Melbourne Musos Facebook Live. My name is Chris Quinlan. How are you? Green, I tells you. Where's my shillelagh? Ah, ooh, ah. The merry month of May, from the home I started, left the girls at one, nearly broken hearted, swooted father dear, kiss me darling mother, drink and buy the beer, me creep and tears and off to reap the corn, live where I was born, taught to stop like corn, banished coats and doublets, brand and beautiful, rattling all the mugs, frightening all the dogs, the rocky road to Dublin, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, oh the don't come around the rocky road, all the way to Dublin, whack the whole Hey, rocky road to Dublin. Rocky road to Facebook. Hey, how you going? Camera 1, camera 2, camera 3. Where's camera 4? You're over there. Hello. And this is the good old St. Paddy's Day special. Hey. So what I've done just then is act the fool. And what I'm going to do is actually take you through a couple of the old Celtic things. It's funny because it's actually quite recent. It's such a funny thing. Now, when you're dealing with Celtic music, Irish music, it's well, as you know, my father ran the Dan O'Connell Hotel from 1963 to 1976, and it's tattooed on the back of my neck that I grew up in an Irish pub from about 1969 onwards, when beautiful people like Jamie and Liz Johnson, both passed away now, started up the Prickly Bush Folk Club at the Dan O'Connell Hotel in Carlton in 1969 with one David Brannigan, if you are watching. And people, Declan Affley, Tony Lavin, the Cobbers, you grew up with this stuff. And what would happen, I'd be upstairs and I was, the little pipsqueak pub kid, right? And the intercom, hello, get down here and wash some glasses, son. We're busy. Click. Down I went, sort of thing, and started washing glasses like a red-headed Irish sort of Celtic history. Irish bastard. Both sides of my family come from Tipperary. It's a long way. Boom tish. And what happens is that I'd be down there with the tray, picking up the ashtrays and the empty glasses and listening to all this music. All the music, and came out, and later on, people probably remember Riverdance. What's your favourite instrument? My shoes. Sort of thing. Irish dancing. The best way to describe Irish dancing is to, set your shoes on fire and then try and put them out. I gave him all my good ones early. They're very good. But growing up in that pub, you'd hear so much stuff. Rise, they shone like diamonds, called her the queen of the land. Her hair hung over her shoulders and a black velvet band. I'd hear that about 5 different times. Not really played like that, though. There it is. There you go. Black velvet band. Now what I'm going to do, because this is a drumming slash trying to teach show with a bit of a silly way of going about it kind of thing, I hope you can appreciate that I'm going to go into it a little bit in depth rather than just acting the fool all the time and not try and be the, not try and be the act the fool all the time. But what happens is when you're dealing with Celtic music, I've talked about this quite a bit because it's come up in such strange places lately. But one of the things that you have is 2 main kinds of dances, if you will, and also 2 main kinds of time signatures. And the first one is the good old Irish jig. And what that is I'll just take out the triggers just for the second. There we go. And what happens is I've been doing this recently because it's like... Now, I was butchering Rocky Road to Dublin just before. In a merry month of May, from my home I started, left the girls at one, nearly broken hearted, slugged. Kissed me, darling mother, drank a pint of beer, me grief and tears. Off to reap the corn, lay where I was born, cut a shop like on to banished goats and cobblers, brand new pair of brogues, rattling off the bogs, frightening all the dogs that rock the road. They're like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8. Oh, that's called a slip jig actually. But let's start with the basic Irish jig. What an Irish jig is, it's in 6/8 time. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, but it's usually fairly brisk. So you get so what was I just singing, humming then? McAlpine's Fusiliers, I think. There you go. It's a great old Irish song. There you go. And there you go. That's in 6/8, you see. So you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But I've sung Rocky Road to Dublin twice. That's a slip jig. That's in 9/8 time, right? So what you've got is it's like 3/4, but in triplets. If you want to think in terms of rock, manic depression, searching my surrender. So it's good for Hendrix. It's also good for the chieftains and the Dubliners and the new Dubliners and everybody that goes with. And there you go. Now what you have is 3 groups of 3. Now you could think of that as 3/4 played as triplets. 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a... No problem, but it is usually written in 9/8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Like that. And that's what goes on, you see. And then what you can have is 2/4, and that is a reel. So you get 1 E and a 2 and D and so. And that sort of stuff there, you see. So you get that, let me go, boys, let me go. Till the rivers all run dry. There you go, all that sort of stuff. Anyway, there you go. So that's what you have. Now, one of the things about all of this business is that we never saw a drum set that much at the good old Dan, okay? until I came along. Dad, I want to learn drums. No, you bloody not. You can stick with the violin. Dad, I want to play drums. All right, bloody hell. I wish you'd stuck with violins, son. That's an age-old tale. Told that a few times on the show. Anyway, that was the first drum set to come into the pub, methinks. What used to happen was the rhythm. Oh, Mr. Tim Colopy, thank you for making it for me. The lagerphone. Eh. There you go. The bottle tops these days, because there's bits of plastic and all that sort of stuff, they don't rattle quite as much as the good old-fashioned bottle tops used to do. But you put it on, I've got a little bit of wood down the bottom there. And what you've got is the great old beat, you know, you get that. And you've got that lovely little feel there. I'm doing 6/8. So 1, 2, 3, 4 for 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 8. 1, 2, 3, the lagerphone. Thank you, Tim Colby. We affectionately call it the Cooper phone. And there you go there. I've had that sitting around for a few years with my dear mate. We've done a few things there. There you go, the lagerphone. Hey. So have a look at the bushwhackers and things like that. Ooh, the cobbers. Puccin with Tony Levin and people like that. Hey. The lagerphone. Hey.
I'm the leprechaun.
Yes, that's right. Ha. Anyway, I'm having a great time. There you go. Now, the devil's instrument. Put it in the backpack. What's it, Barry Morgan? Does it with his piano accordion. The devil's backpack. In the merry month of May, I have a friend I haven't seen for a little while, Cole Melgard. How are you, mate? You gave me this and it's beautiful, but you are a master at it. I am just a lowly beginner with it. And this is the tipper, which I only showed the other week. There you go, that's it. Now what I do, because I showed it, I demonstrated this the other week, I won't do too much with that tonight because I want to translate that to drums after all, home base for me. And what happens is that Boweron rhythm, like that, becomes, and there it is, and there. And that's been a common thing over a thread through the last couple of months. Even last year when I did that special for dear Uriah Heep, because dear Lee Kerslake seemed to be wonderful with the rolling shuffle, which I'm about to explain. Now, when I'm explaining this kind of business, what happens is there's something about the treasure. There are bands like the Dubliners and the Chieftains and these people, which I have notes here. I'll give you a quick rundown in a little bit. But what goes on, let me give you a little bit of a for instance. And especially this week, okay, with what's happened with everything in the royal family and all that, you know, all that. We know that from the Union Jack in the top corner of our flag. And what goes on is when you're dealing with, let's say, punk, okay, punk music from the 70s, like the Sex Pistols, and over in the States it's the Ramones, but let's talk about Sex Pistols, you know, so God Save the Queen, you know, and all that sort of stuff. Essentially, they were rocking the establishment. And okay, you're talking about the Clash and all these great bands. What's this got to do with Celtic music? What happens is that when you go to the Irish punk, they do not do that. They actually honour their forebears' music, and what they do is rock it up. So a band that I love, they're a kick-ass band, is the Young Dubliners. Go check them out. And they've got a great drummer, and I don't know his name. I better find out, haven't I? Oh, bad research, Chris. Anyway, so what happens is what you have is bands and music that honour what came before, not spit on what came before, okay? There's a big difference, okay? And there's a big difference about being the right kind of punk, okay? When you come up through the right kind of upbringing and all that. So what happens? You can't get away with this kind of an episode without touching on the troubles of Deer Island. Because when I was coming up with the aforementioned, get down here and wash some glasses, son. You got to remember, this was 1969, 70, early 70s, and you remember the troubles? And there you go. And that seemed to loom large, like the big black cloud over everything. We were, all sorts of different stuff. So these men and women, these beautiful musicians, were passionate. Declan Affley could just hold down. I remember one thing, I think it was the something Third National Folk Festival or something. It was just me and Mum went, and it was at the Dallas Brooks Hall. And Declan Affley held everyone. It was just him and a guitar. And the reason I keep coming back to him, because he was a good friend of the Quinlan family, and he was always the tapping my head, so how you going, young Chris, and all that. He'd take the time out. He was such a beautiful guy. And he could just hold Dallas Brooks Hall spellbound with his songs and the way that he sang them. And it was like, oh, that's the way to do it. That's what you do. That's what you do. In the midst of everything, bang. Oh, Declan. I do believe David Brannigan, if you're watching, hello David, many, many years with the Bushwhackers and everybody else. I have his guitar, which has travelled around Australia. I should have put it up here. But I do believe that David's term is our Declan. There you are. So there you go. So what we've got, let me get back into it. Now I'm going to get a bit technical now. I've talked about three main time signatures here. I've talked about 6/8. I've talked about 2/4. And I've done a little bit about 9/8 and with the slip jig, because each one has a dance, do that, try and put your shoes out after you've set them on fire. That kind of thing. And I've got to say, when we talk about the slip jig, what you have is in river dance, there's a beautiful slip jig, but it's not your normal 3, 3, and 3. I always remember it from when it was like the big special on Channel 9 and all that sort of stuff. And it was 9/8, but divided into 5 and 4. So you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4. And it was just a beautiful dance, and it was just gorgeous. So it was basically hippopotamus 1, 2, 3, 4, hippopotamus 1. There it is. Beautiful lilting version of 9/8. You'd think, oh, that's a Zappa riff. No! Riverdance. There you go. Who was it? Who wrote the music for Riverdance? Bill Whelan, I think. There you go. I'll double check that later. But what happens when you're dealing with 6/8, you have the aforementioned rolling shuffle. You take a triplet. I'll do it fairly quick. 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a... You want to do it in triplets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In 6/8. I'll slow that down. 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4. Nice little 6-inch punch there for the rim shot. Again, Tim Colopy, you love your rim shot. I treat that, I call it a 6-inch punch. I've been saying it a bit lately. And I want you to think about Kill Bill, Uma Thurman, when she was, that beautiful lady, when she was in the coffin. And she was going, like that. It's like that. You get that 1 and a 2. So look what happens here. Oop. But if you're going to do 6/8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right hand on cymbal. There you go. It's my favourite song. I love that song, Rocky Road to Dublin. It's gorgeous. I love it so much. Anyway, that's a rolling shuffle. Now bring in some of your marching. And bringing the bell on in first. Ooh. Now, a great example of that is young Dubliners' instrumental called Aishley Falls, which is a waterfall in Ireland. And what happens, it goes between half-time and normal time. And one of the great things about the half-time when you're doing it in, say, compound time signatures, which is what I'm dealing with, anything divisible by 3. A double paradiddle works very nicely for a half-time, so you get that kind of... Off we go! Hey, that's Aishley Fall. Humming Badly. First track off their album, With Due Respect, I think, when they were doing all the classic Irish things, you know, like Foggy Dew and all that sort of stuff. Oh. Anyway, I better get into this. I better read some of my notes. I'm going to talk about some wonderful people, okay? Let me talk for St. Paddy's Day. I know I'm acting the fool. Hang on, I should be doing this. I do have props. Hang on. Sweetie. Oh, Pasco. Anyway, it is Wayne's World. You do know that that's the reference, don't you? Okay, there you go. Anyway, I used to have the same kind of hair that Garth had. I still got the same glasses. Thank you very much. Sláinte. Anyway, I'm going to read some notes now. Have a look at this. I can't possibly read them all, but here we go. The Clancy Brothers were an influential Irish folk music group that developed initially as a part of the American folk music revival. Most popular during the 1960s, they were famed for their Aaron jumper sweaters and widely credited with popularising Irish traditional music in the United States and revitalising it in Ireland, contributing to an Irish folk boom with groups like the Dubliners and the Wolf Tones. Clancy Brothers, Paddy Clancy, Tom Clancy, Liam Clancy are known best for their work with Tommy Makem, recording almost 24 albums together as the Clancy Brothers and Tommy Makem. There you go. That's a quick one. I've got a bit more. Look them all up. Go to YouTube. Just spend the night listening to them. They're fantastic. I'm going to keep on going because I'm looking at the time here. Might be a bit of a double episode. I'm not sure yet. It's a funny thing. But we'll see how we go. The Dubliners were an Irish folk band. I'm going to put them here and then here, like I usually do them back there. All that when I get my editing cordial, and I think you know the flavour tonight of the cordial I will be partaking of. And there you go, with my dear friend Marcus, who said he might pop around later. There you are. The Dubliners were an Irish folk band founded in Dublin in 1962 as the Ronnie Drew Ballad Group, named after its founding member. They subsequently renamed themselves the Dubliners. The lineup saw many changes in personnel over their 50-year career, but the group's success was centred on lead singers Luke Kelly and Ronnie Drew. The band garnered international success with their lively Irish folk songs, traditional street ballads and instrumentals. The bands were regulars on the folk scenes in both Dublin and London in the early 1960s, and was signed to the Major Minor label in 1965, and backing from Dominic Behan, who was paid by Major Minor to work with the Dubliners, and etc., etc., etc. Every time I talk about the Dubliners, it follows very quickly the term national living treasure. Okay, that's how much they are loved. I've got something here I might leave you with, and you can sing along at the end of the show and all that. But what I'm going to talk about now is the Chieftains are a traditional Irish band formed in Dublin in 1962 by Paddy Maloney, Sean Potts and Michael Tubrady. Their sound, which is almost entirely instrumental and largely built around the Uilleann pipes, I hope I said that properly, has become synonymous with traditional Irish music, and they are regarded as having helped popularise Irish music across the world. 6 Grammys, if you don't mind, umpire. There you go. And Ireland's Musical Ambassadors, the honorary title in 1989. There you go. Whew. There you go. There it is. This is my... this is the best way I can set up a tribute to these dear people and essentially what I grew up with. The one thing with me... Because by this stage I was getting into Deep Purple and Led Zeppelin, Sabbath and all that sort of stuff. I said, where's the drums? The bodhrán wasn't even there. It was the Lagerphone mostly, T-chest bass, all that sort of stuff. And then I discovered Jethro Tull. That's why it became a tragic. I thought, oh, it's that with that. Ah, there it is there. And I found it, Celtic champions, albeit Tull is Scottish. Ian Anderson is the great Scot. I have a picture of me with him over there and all that, with a beautiful letter he wrote me after our chat. And it was wonderful. It was like pinch yourself stuff. I just met one of my heroes, and he's a gentleman, a debonair gent. I know he has a bit of a reputation and all that, but most leaders do when they're trying to keep the ship running. That's all, Hey, dear me. Hey, in the merry month of May. There you go. Hey, but then again... No wonder. Anyway... Now, I'm going to go back to my triggers now, and what I'm going to do is take you through a few things that can make you instantly Irish, okay? So you don't need your shillelagh to fight off the leprechaun and all that. You can actually just go down the track of a mixolydian mode, and if you... And... Oh, pardon me. I might go to the mallets here. And what happens is that if you mix a mixolydian mode, what happens, let me tell you about a mixolydian mode. You take a normal major scale and you flatten the 7th degree. So if, let's say you have the G major scale, which is G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G, take the F sharp and bring it down to F natural. Make the pedal point a G, if you will, and then what will happen is you will come out sounding Irish if you put it into kind of a 6/8. you can become a leprechaun. Mixolydian mode, you see. And what happens is that a mixolydian mode is built on the 5th step of the home major scale. So rather than thinking, oh man, all these modes, oh my God, I got to learn 45,000 different scale patterns. No, you need to learn your theory. And what you do is you have your major scale patterns, if you will. And then what you do is just know what step each mode is. And the mixolydian is the 5th step. So in other words, you can think of it another way, because last week's Face Shook was how minor is minor, and I was talking about the modes there. But now this is the major mode. Okay, I was talking about minor modes, right? But this is the major mode, and what happens is what you're really doing is essentially playing the C major scale. There's no sharps or flats, let's say, in the C major scale. But if you want G mixolydian, which is the 5th step of C, okay, what you're really doing is playing the C major scale from G to G, and you'll get this sound. You see, it's not do, re, mi, it's the leprechaun. There you go, with my shillelagh, you know, with my shenanigans. And what I've got there is the Celtic harp. And did you know that I've actually got one in the front room? My friend Lisa, who I do the Zapper and the Beefheart stuff with, she needed a place just to leave. And I said, stick it next to the Pink Princess if you don't mind. There you go. Now, what can also happen, I better start finishing off because I've gone over time already. But I hope you've been enjoying this funny shenanigan type show, with plus getting something out of it as well. But that's the mixolydian mode. Okay, that makes you, if you want to sound Irish, go mixolydian. There you go. That's what happens there. Much loved and much used scale. Talking about Frank Zappa, he liked the mixolydian mode as well. You can tell in some of his songs. Frank, you're doing mixolydian. Thanks, mate. There you go. Van Halen, we're Irish. I don't feel tardy. Eh. Tied up with a black velvet band. Thank you very much for watching, putting up with me. I hope you enjoyed what I've done. There you go. This kind of music is dear to me. It goes to my soul and how I grew up. I love the shits and giggles, don't get me wrong, but geez, I go misty when I hear some of those old songs back. Oh, it just transports me back. And I just go, just give me a moment, I'll be right back. And I remember all these dear people. Oh, my dear dad started it all up with Jamie Johnson and his dear wife Liz, who was my babysitter, okay, when it all starts 9. And then, all right, son, you can wash a few glasses if you like. Yeah, can you pick up those electrodes over there? Yeah, okay. And everyone was singing together. And the Beer Garden, 225 Canning Street, Carlton. 314-1502. That was the phone number. I still remember it to this day. There you go. All right. So, to everyone who's been at the Dan O'Connell for St. Paddy's Day at some point, the park across the way, we were there for many years when it was the petrol station and all that sort of stuff. But then it got flattened out and then it became a beautiful park. And that used to be where the St. Paddy's Day, all the bands were up. And you go there and I go, they're singing that song. Geez, I remember that from 1971. I was 11. Yeah. Songs like these. I am out of here. And I'm going to leave you with a beautiful song you can sing along with. I hope you enjoyed the show, the shenanigans, all that sort of business. Just and have one last sing song before you hit the hay for Thursday work. And I will see you later on. Here we go. All right. Happy St. Paddy's Day.
In Dublin's fair city, where the girls are so, I first set my eyes on sweet Molly Malone as she wheeled her wheelbarrow through streets broad and narrow, crying cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, crying cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh. She was a fishmonger, and sure 'twas no wonder, for so were her father and mother before, and they both wheeled their barrows through streets broad and narrow, crying cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, crying cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh. She died of a fever and no one could save her, and that was the end of sweet Molly Malone. But her ghost wheels her barrow through streets broad and narrow, crying cockles and mussels, alive,